Good evening, everyone. This is Meldita, and I'll be talking about diabetic nephropathy that leads to kidney failure. The common cause of this is diabetes mellitus type 1 and type 2. So let's go to this kidney cell, the nephron. Clean blood goes to the interlobular artery, and it enters the Bowman capsule, and we have here the glomerulus, which is a ball of capillaries. So the blood from the interlobular artery goes to the bigger afferent arteriole, goes to here, and this is actually the filter. Bigger particles like red cell and bigger protein will pass by and be collected by the efferent arteriole, and it goes and supply the kidneys with clean blood by peritubular capillaries. Dirty blood come down and be going back to the vein and back to the right side of the heart. How about the other smaller particles? Well, they have to pass by the filter here. So our filter here, I made the drawing before. This is the cross section, and that is a side view, but I'll just show you first this here. Okay, so when the smaller particles will pass this here, it should be that this pressure here is higher than the pressure in the Bowman capsule, because there's a hydrostatic pressure here, and there's another hydrostatic pressure here in the Bowman space, so that the ultrafiltrate will be able to come out. Okay. What determines the hydrostatic pressure? First, this efferent arteriole should be bigger, and the efferent arteriole should be smaller. That increases your hydrostatic pressure, and you will be able to do then this one will be able to do the filtration. And when will this hydrostatic pressure drop? And it will drop also the filtration. Well, if you constrict the afferent arteriole, you dilate the efferent arteriole, and there are some obstruction in the tubular area, retrogradely, they will reflect here on the Bowman space, so you increase the hydrostatic pressure of the Bowman space, and now lesser than the hydrostatic pressure intraglomerularly, then filtration will not happen. So we have to treat the cause. So assuming this filter is good, so if the filter is okay, it allows all these smaller particles to pass through, so they're ready to be delivered to the proximal convoluted tubule. So here. So there are some good elements that will be reabsorbed from here. As I mentioned before, I made a mistake. I said from the ultrafiltrate to the blood. No, the chemicals or the good elements that will be reabsorbed from here, from the ultrafiltrate, will go to the blood. That is called reabsorption. This ultrafiltrate can be sodium chloride. I made a mistake there before too. I said the chloride is chlorine. I said it should be chloride. So sodium, chloride, amino acids, glucose, poisons, toxins, drugs, everything, they are all on the ultrafiltrate. But it so happened that there are some elements that will be reabsorbed back to the blood from here. Because this proximal convoluted tubule has also secretion, that means from the blood to the ultrafiltrate, and also excretion. And those parts are just waiting to be eradicated as urine. So the ultrafiltrate continue to travel down the descending loop of Henle, and then going up. Water will be absorbed all throughout except going to the collecting duct. So going up in here to the distal convoluted tubule and down in here. So then will be delivered as urine. So the ultrafiltrate now is concentrated as urine somewhere down the medulla area and ready to be excreted to the ureter, to the urethra, and so on. Okay. So what if you have a problem with your filter? Okay, I'm talking about a normal person with a good filter, so that's great. But what if this person have problem with high sugar, lipids, and everything? So let's talk about this filter here. So this is a cross section of this glomerulus, and I put only 4 capillaries here. There's actually a lot because this is a ball of capillaries, but just for the sake of a demonstration here. So in here again, I got the afferent. We got the efferent. These are the capillaries. Okay, this is the mesangial cells. We got here the juxtaglomerular apparatus, and that is the distal convoluted tubule. This is actually a spread out drawing, but actually the distal convoluted tubule is actually going up, and it's in this area here. The juxtaglomerular apparatus is in here. So anyway, that's a drawing. So if you look at the side view of the filter here, we get a capillary here, and there are holes. Capillary, and there are holes, that's fenestrae, and we got the basement membrane, and we got the food processes or the feet of the podocyte. And if you look up, let's say you're looking down to an open capillaries in here, this is what you see. So you see the lumen of the capillaries, And you see also the basement membrane, which is black in color, like here. And then you got also this spiky looking here. These are the food processors, and you got the podocyte. Okay. So what's gonna happen if you disrupt this glomerular filtration barrier? Only with the problem of uncontrolled blood sugar. So how will diabetes damage your kidney? Well, uncontrolled high blood sugar or hyperglycemia will cause glycosylation. So the glycosylation, this is a very bad, process because it causes damage to some organs, protein, lipids, and everything. But this is mainly the glycosylation, which is non-enzymatic towards protein. So it will cause a modified transformation of the protein, and we get a problem. So what are the effects of this glycosylation? Okay, first, let's talk about this efferent and afferent arteriole. So when glycosylation hit these afferent and efferent arterioles, there is a lipid and protein deposits, glycoprotein deposits, which is called hyalinosis. So that's where the damage. So when you damage this one, remember that they carry blood supply to the glomerulus, and from there it goes to the efferent. So your caliber is not good, so it will damage. So it affects flow and everything, and it affects your pressure inside. So any problem in here, you drop your hydrostatic pressure, it affects your filtration. Next one is the filter barrier. So the glycosylation affects the filter barrier. What did we say about the filter barrier? This is our filter barrier here. So we have the capillary, we have the basement membrane, and we have the podocyte here. That is our filter. So what's gonna happen is that if you look at it, there are mesangial cells or matrix overproduction with glycosylation. So where are they? These mesangial cells here are actually like a turf where the capillaries are laying down. And if they produce more matrix, they will occupy lots of spaces in here, and they will crunch also the capillaries in here. So these capillary walls will thicken because they will be all modified by glycosylation, and the filtration surface now is reduced. Okay? Next part to be affected is our glomerular basement membrane. So there is thickening, and some of the albumin, because we started disrupting our filter, and this albumin passed through. So they will be deposited there, and now we don't have a good filter. The capillary wall will be thickened, and the podocyte slits, because the podocyte, there are slits. Remember, our filter, blood is in here, that is being filtered, right? So the ultrafiltrate will pass the fenestrate, the wall, the holes from the capillary wall. It goes to the basement membrane and to the podocyte processes. These are the feet of the podocytes. There are slits in between here. They are all disrupted. So in other words, we get a faulty filter because of glycosylation. Okay? And the next one is proteinuria. So there are albumin or protein in your urine. So when you have yourself checked, by chance you don't even know, you find out that you're positive for this one, because as I said, chronic kidney disease, sometimes it will only be overt or obvious when it's already advanced. So positive albumin or protein in your urine. So blood pressure actually compounds or make matters worse in here. So if you have a high blood pressure, systemic, that is arterial, it will actually speeds up the